So you dream of visiting the island of the gods, but you want to make sure you know enough to plan a successful trip. I've got you covered. This is the Elite Traveler's Guide to Bali. Recently, my girlfriend and I had the privilege of staying 14 nights in Bali, where we learned quite a lot about this picturesque tropical destination. In this video, I will share with you everything you need to know before you plan your trip to Bali, from the best and cheapest methods on how to get here, to where to stay, sights to see, and other various insider tips. This video will provide you with the knowledge to be able to set off on your Bali adventure. Before we start, I want to make a few things clear. While I'm going to provide recommendations of areas to stay and places to visit, this is not going to be a comprehensive itinerary. I don't think it makes sense for any video to try and plan a specific travel plan for anyone. Your itinerary should be just that, yours. I will provide recommendations and inspiration, but you should make your own plans. It's just more fun that way since my preferences may be different than yours. Now, before we look at how to get to Bali, let's look at when you should go. Bali's dry season runs from April to October. This is the time I would personally recommend visiting if you don't want to get caught in the rain. The wet season runs from November to March, and you may be able to find cheaper flights and accommodations during this time. Temperatures are relatively stable throughout the year, ranging from 75 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, pretty much regardless of season. Now let's look at how to get here. Unfortunately, there are no direct flights from the United States, so we're gonna have to stop somewhere. Our closest major airline hubs are going to be in Sydney, Australia, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Tokyo, Japan. Personally, if you can take the time off work, I would recommend stopping in one of these destinations for at least a few days instead of just doing a layover. Being able to visit 2 destinations instead of just one is always a win in my book. If departing from the United States, our best bet is likely going to be flying via Singapore on Singapore Airlines. This is great for a few reasons. One is that Singapore Airlines is a wonderful airline, which offers frequent and competitively priced flights from multiple destinations in the United States directly to Singapore. Another good reason is due to the fact that Singapore is located in extremely close proximity to Bali, only about a 3-hour flight. Singapore also just makes a really nice stopover for a few days. It's such a safe, clean, and modern country. Ultimately, your choice of airline will depend on where you're departing from and the current pricing at the time. I would talk about trying to find flights to Bali on points, but to be honest, that is a beast in its own right and would need an entire video dedicated to it. Let me know in the comments below if that's something you want to see. Moving on to accommodations. Bali has a ton of unique options for where to stay at various price points, from extreme budget to ultra opulence. Let's first talk about hotels versus Airbnbs. I'm sure you have seen various Instagram posts about all the amazing Airbnbs in Bali. Now, I'm not saying that Airbnbs are not a good option here, but they are not the end-all, be-all, obvious choice that you may think they are. Now, I'll be honest, I am biased to hotels, but my favorite benefit of hotels is that we can game them. For an Airbnb, the price is the price. Nothing too much we can do to reduce it. However, for hotels, we can utilize loyalty points to gain access to much cheaper or even free stays. This is where I'm going to tell you how to stay in Bali for an absurdly low cost while maintaining a very high level of luxury. For this, we're going to look at the Hyatt Hotel Group. Now, Hyatt has many great Bali properties available for an extremely low cost of their points currency. Roll of Hyatt points. I'll go into how to earn these points in just a second, so stay with me here. There are 4 Hyatt properties currently bookable for 8,000 points per night or less. The hotels are Hyatt Regency Bali, Grand Hyatt Bali, Alila Ubud, and Alila Mangus. There's also a 5th one in Seminyak that never seems to be open. Now, 8,000 points is an extremely reasonable cost. To put in perspective how cheap that is, if you sign up for a credit card like the Chase Sapphire Preferred and reach the sign-up bonus, you earn a minimum of 60,000 points, which then can be transferred over to Hyatt at a rate of 1-to-1. That is almost 8 fully free nights you would be able to get from just one credit card sign-up bonus. If you and a friend or partner each got the card, you would then have at least 15 nights where you'd be able to stay at these hotels 100% for free. Keep in mind that these are not bad hotels by any means. These are all 4 to 5 star luxury resorts where you will be more than comfortable. If you are interested in learning about the Chase Sapphire Preferred card and how you can easily earn these points, check out the top link in the description. Moving on, let's look at a few of the various areas of Bali. The airport is located in Bali's largest city, Denpasar, which is in the south of the island. Some areas of Bali you will want to note are Seminyak, Nusa Penida, Ubud, and Uluwatu. Here's a little information about each. And just note, this is simplified, so there's a lot I'm not covering here. Seminyak is located north of the airport and is known for its gigantic beaches and party atmosphere. This is a very touristy area, but there's a ton to do here, especially when it comes to restaurants and nightlife. Nusa Dua is a resort area of Bali located to the southeast. Here you will find many extremely nice 5-star beachfront resorts. Some of these resorts can have very beautiful beaches, while some can leave a bit to be desired. Next up is Ubud. Ubud is the cultural center of Bali, and it's where you're going to find staples like rice terraces and spectacular jungles. If you are going to Bali, visiting Ubud is non-negotiable. At the very least, you have to spend a day in Ubud, if not several nights. This was by far our favorite area of Bali. We stayed at the Alila Ubud, which is a wonderful hotel. While not the newest or the most modern, it was just very peaceful and relaxing. I remember going outside at night with Jessica and listening to the jungle sounds and seeing fireflies for the first time of our life. The pool here is also spectacular. Remember, this is bookable for just 8,000 Hyatt points per night, so this is a steal. The final area I'm going to mention is Uluwatu, which is all the way on the south of Bali. This feels more raw and rugged, with world-class cliffside resorts, such as the Bulgari Resort, Six Senses Uluwatu, and Alila Villas Uluwatu. There isn't as much to do in Uluwatu necessarily, but it has immense natural beauty. We stayed at the Alila Villas, which was phenomenal. The cash price is normally over $1,000 a night, but we booked it for just 30,000 Hyatt points a night. The base room is a 3,000 square foot villa with a private pool, so it goes without saying, you will be more than comfortable here. I now want to talk about some of Bali's activities and must-dos. This is not going to be one of those guides where I advise you to do 17 different activities a day, requiring you to wake up at 5 a.m. and go to bed at midnight. Part of the fun, dare I say most of it, comes from relaxing and taking things slow. Here are just a few activities and destinations I recommend in no particular order. First up is the world-famous Ubud Monkey Forest, where you are completely surrounded by macaques all around you. It's just as cool as it looks. You can even pay like $3 to take a selfie with one of them. Just be careful because these monkeys can and will steal from you. I'm telling you this from experience. Be careful with eyeglasses in particular. The cost is under $7 per person. The next activity is also located in Ubud, and that is whitewater rafting in the Ayung River. Don't freak out, this is not intense. We did this for our first ever whitewater rafting experience, and it was completely fine. The river runs for several miles through Ubud, and the nature is breathtaking. This will be some of the prettiest forest you've ever seen in your entire life. What's nice is the cost is really cheap too. Well under $50 per person, even if you go with an expensive provider. My only heads up is that it will be a bit of a trip down, requiring quite a bit of stairs. Another place I really recommend visiting is Seminyak Beach, even if you aren't able to stay there. Seminyak is just such a lively area with a beach that stretches out seemingly forever. If possible, I would try to catch a sunset here because it is gorgeous. There are plenty of hotels along this stretch as well, so if you want to have some beachside dining, that is an option. We tried the bar at the W Hotel, which was pretty good. Next up is Uluwatu Temple. This is a stunning cliffside temple located in the southwest of Uluwatu. I recommend trying to catch the sunset here because it is phenomenal. I want to warn you that there are also macaques here, and they are way more likely to steal than the macaques at the monkey forest. I got my sunglasses stolen, and my girlfriend got her sandals stolen while she was wearing it and walking. These guys don't mess around. They don't want to hurt you at all, they just want to take your stuff. The price for this very unique experience is under $4 a person. Those are my 4 must-dos. I would say as long as you have the physical ability, those are activities you need to do. There, of course, is so much more to do in Bali, but I don't want to bombard you with information. If you have any questions about other places of where to visit and my personal recommendations, check out my 100% free community Discord group at the link in the description, where I would be happy to personally answer any questions you have. Before we move on, I want to quickly talk about Nusa Penida. I am sure you have seen this place on Instagram, particularly Kelingking Beach. Nusa Penida is another island, and it's about a 1-hour boat ride from Sanur Harbor. And you will need to hire a driver/guide for the day. The issue isn't necessarily the cost. It was under $130 for both of us for everything. The issue is that this is a long day, requiring you to wake up early, do a lot of driving all over the island. While the sights were amazing, this was an exhausting day. So if you do choose to skip this one, I understand. Let's talk about useful apps and practical knowledge on the ground. First, for getting around, I would recommend using one of these 3 apps: Grab, Gojek, or Bluebird. All 3 of these are basically Uber equivalents. In my opinion, Bluebird is the best by far. These are metered taxis you call via the app only, which are safe, clean, and have very reasonable pricing. The main issue is that these won't always be available. My second choice is usually Gojek due to how cheap it is. This is also a good choice for getting food delivered. Grab is good, but it can be more expensive sometimes. Make sure you add your credit card to the app and pay only via credit card. The only time you should be paying anything additional in cash is if you choose to take a toll road, in which case there will be a nominal fee. You may also wonder about renting a scooter. While you can often rent scooters for absurdly low cost, just a few dollars per day, this isn't something I can personally endorse. Bali has crazy traffic and hectic streets. There are countless stories of tourists getting seriously injured. I'm not saying scooters are not a viable option, but for me, I would rather just pay the extra money for the driver. Now for getting cash, I'm gonna recommend a one-size-fits-all solution for anyone in the United States. Get the Charles Schwab Investor Debit Card. I am not sponsored by them, and I do not have a referral link. This debit card is overpowered because it will reimburse unlimited ATM fees from any ATM in the world. There's no minimum deposit requirement, and there are no fees for opening the account. It truly is a wonder. This way you can completely avoid using sketchy money changers with bad exchange rates and being possibly scammed. Another finance tip, regardless of where you are in the world, when using a credit or debit card and are asked if you want to pay in the local currency or your home currency, always select the local currency. Your bank will give you a much better exchange rate than the machine. As a final note here, I want to mention how food poisoning in Bali can be an issue if you are not careful. Famously called Bali Belly, you can find yourself having a ruined trip if you aren't smart about where you eat. Anything at a decent hotel will be fine, of course, as well as nice cafes or restaurants. If you start eating from carts on the street, there could be issues. I was personally overly cautious and found myself eating a lot of hotel food. But to be honest, you probably don't need to take it that far. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and that I've been able to provide significant value to you. Please give this video a like if I was able to help you, and be sure to stay subscribed to stay up to date on all future content. I will see you soon.